Well, hello once again, farming friends. Welcome back to another edition of Farming Simulator 2015 with me, your old buddy, Mistermoose. Hey, we are back on Manchester and ended up taking a day Sunday off. So, yeah, I had a few more things to do with the family than I thought I had to do, so I didn't have the time to get some video recorded. And then, again, I had some obligations where I had signed up to do some beta testing for Fishing Planet, so I ended up doing some of that as well last night. So didn't have a chance to get a video done, but we are back and ready to do some ag. So no forestry. Y'all escaped the bullet on that one. Come on. Here we go. Anyway, so what are we going to do today? We got to finish up planting, and that's basically what we're going to do in this video. Is I'm going to run the corn seeder and get the rest of this planted up. So yeah, that's what we're going to take care of. And just get all these fields sown. So let's see, we've got, I got to remember exactly what I did. We put something in 4, and then I put corn in 7. Or did I put corn in 4 and, gosh, it's amazing how much I can forget in just a day. Let's see. 4 is planted. Let's see. We put corn in 4, soybean in 7. We're going to put corn in 6 and corn in 20 as well. So that's where we're headed. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the live streams over the weekend. The archives are up for those who missed them. You can always watch that. And when I do the live streams, I do always try to talk to the group and not just the people who are in the live stream reading. Now, Saturday, I was not as good at that as I did on Friday, but hopefully I can get better and better at that. As I do the live streams, because that's the thing, is I want to make sure that I'm not just talking to the people who are watching the live stream live, as much as I'm communicating with everybody who will watch the live stream down the road. So that's my goal anyways with it. So anyways, I hope you guys found it interesting and entertaining, and we will definitely do more. My goal is to do, like I said, do a couple a week, and I may actually do some later today on Fishing Planet, because I am going to do a couple of Fishing Planet videos this week. Now that the new release is done, I will go in and do a couple of basically fishing things on Michigan, and it's going to go against everything that I have said from the beginning, as far as not doing videos on where to fish and everything else like that, because it's really all I can do. There's not much I can do otherwise, other than deal with the hand I've been dealt. So I have mixed emotions about it. I don't feel like I should do point and cast videos where I'm basically showing you where to cast and what lure to use to catch fish, but unfortunately, if I do videos on the map and I say, well, okay, we're going to get out here and I'm going to do some fishing and this is how it's going to be, unfortunately, you're going to see exactly what bait I'm using, where I'm fishing, how deep I'm fishing, all that other stuff, and you're going to know exactly where to catch. But if the developers aren't going to do anything to fix the game, to put some individuality into the game, then there's not a whole lot I can do, and I'm not going to sit back and not do the videos, because you guys have asked for them, and I don't want to feel like I'm just ignoring you guys at the same time. So, yeah. So that's sort of been my decision. I've struggled with it for a while, but at this point, all I can do is do it because everybody else is going to do it as well. So if I hold out, I'm just one person holding out amongst a sea of people who are going to do it anyways. So at least you might as well get some information from me. Alright. Alright, we should be set up. I always forget that on GPS, and you guys just need to keep this in mind if you're using the GPS mod as well. If you let it auto detect the width of this corn seeder, it is always going to mess up. It's always going to make it 10 meters instead of 9. And it will do the same thing with the Vaterstat. It will make it like 7 meters instead of 6. And then you'll end up with a gap in between the rows. So make sure that you, when you set up the GPS, make sure that you adjust that. I almost missed it. I started seeding and looked back and realized that my gutter was a little bit too much. So what has been going on since we last talked? Not too much. I did end up, it's Sunday, and I know you normally don't do it, but we ended up doing a little bit of digging yesterday. So I did spend a little bit of time over at my uncle's, just digging because I had some things to take care of Monday morning, and I wasn't going to be able to help him, so went over there and dug for quite a bit yesterday, and then we had a big family get together. So that's one of the reasons why I was away and didn't do any kind of videos or anything like this yesterday. It ended up just being a nice family day, which was really cool because it was just me, my uncle, and a couple of my cousins out there yesterday working, and it was fun because we chatted back and forth on the radios and just made it a fun little day. Took a nice leisurely pace. Didn't do anything stupid. Alright. So the goal will be to get the corn in the ground here, and again with this harvest we'll basically grow corn on 3 fields, soybean on another, and the corn will all go to chaff unless we get a high demand for corn here in the future. But for the most part, I'm planning on all the corn going to chaff, and that'll go to the BGA, and we'll go from there. Then once we get the fields planted, we'll focus in on the beef operation. We'll move over to the beef farm. I'm going to move all the grass equipment over there, and we'll start setting that farm up. We'll buy some beef cattle, and we'll start getting that going, which is good. There's a new Joshkins trailer out I want to take a look at in the mods, as well as there's some other livestock trailers. Take a look at, maybe find a different one. But I did notice there's a new Joshkins one out, but I think it does, basically I think it's set up to do geese, because apparently somebody has added in a geese mod. So there was a question in the comments about since I'm using the G27, was it possible to do a manual gear mod so you can go through the gears? I don't think there is one. It would be neat to have a gear range. You know, the drive control does have a range limiter built into it where you can basically gear down the tractor. It doesn't do much, but it's built into it. But I don't know. Somebody would basically have to create a mod, and I don't know how well it would work with the game. The game doesn't have too much to do with range, anyways. But it would be neat to have it, you know, that you could lock into a granny gear and for plowing, you know, be in B1 or A1 or whatever you want to be in. But as far as I know, there's no way to do that. I haven't seen a mod come out called manual gears or anything else like that. But you think about it, there's not too much gear shifting that you actually do in a tractor. I mean, it's not like an automobile or anything else like that where you shift from gear to gear to gear. You pretty much pick a gear and go. Now, if you're gonna do a run down a dirt road, yeah, you'll start off in gear 1, and you know, you'll start off in your lowest gear just to get the tractor rolling, but you'll pretty much move through the gears real quick. But as far as field work, pretty much just pick the gear you're gonna run in, let the clutch out and throttle up. Another question I got in the comments: where did you get that thing that's behind the forage harvester? Which would be referencing the field bin on the Krone. That is, as I said in the video, from the Krone Beast Pack. It's from the Krone 1100 Beast Pack. And if you look in the mods list, you will see it listed with a link on how to download that pack. And it is in there, and that is the only way I know to get it, other than, you know, just download that entire pack. So apparently my friends list is up because somebody just messaged me. So my plans for this week, other than Farm Sim, I do plan to do, like I said, I'll do a Fishing Planet video later on today. Now that the map has been released and I don't have to worry about an NDA, I will do a Fishing Planet video later on today. Get that taken care of. We'll do some Euro Truck this week. And then I will, hopefully, if I can get good enough at it, do a dirt rally video. But man, I'm still sucking at it. I still just eat the wall every day. The problem with dirt rally I have is they don't give you enough time to practice. I'm trying to do rallycross is what I'm trying to do, and they just don't give you enough time to practice. You get 3 practice sessions, right? Well, I don't have a clue as what the best setups for those cars are, and you just can't dial it in 3 practice sessions. And I think they need to give you an unlimited practice session for beginners just to tune your car and to get it close, and then you can adjust it slightly for the weather conditions in the practice sessions. Because I mean, you should be able to go onto a course and have a practice day where you run a couple of laps, you come in, maybe you change your brake bias, you run a couple more laps, you come in, you change your camber or something like that, and just tweak out your car. give you a workshop where you can go in there and tweak the car for the settings that you like. And then once you get those settings dialed in the way you like them, then you can go in there and on the race day, the little subtleties that will throw you off, like it's a hot day and the course is going to be sticky, or it's going to be a day where it's bright sunshine and the course is just going to slip because of the heat in the track or whatever, or it's raining, so you're going to have to adjust for the rain. Things like that you can dial in your little 3 practice sessions. But that's not built into the game right now, and I sort of wish that was. I wish that aspect of it was there so that you could really sit there and fill out your car in a practice mode before you go out, and also so you could get used to, if you're just jumping into it and you're not any sort of dirt rally veteran, you're just a total noob to the entire series, so you could get in there and really fill out the cars, get used to sliding them around the course, and because racing rally isn't the same as racing NASCAR or Grand Prix or something. The way you toss the car into the corner is completely different than trying to, let's say, run an oval in a NASCAR type situation or in a Formula One car. So the one thing I have to get used to with running the G27 with the GPS is before, when I make a turn and I get close to the center line, I could just go ahead and enable the GPS mod and it would turn right onto the center mod, and that would be fine. But because I'm using the steering wheel and it's got a little bit of force feedback in it and brushes instead of switches, what happens is I'll crank the wheel all the way to a direction and then I want to hit the GPS lock button. Well, as the steering wheel tries to correct itself back to center, it ends up overriding the GPS and unlocking the GPS. So I've got to get used to that as well and make sure that I'm taking care of that. I don't know if I can get this last little bit of seed in here and maximize this field or not, or if it's even worth it. It is going to hit everything, so we'll just forget it. That little bit of the field will not get planted. Alright, so pull that up and we will head to the last field and get that taken care of. Stop right here, make sure that we're topped off on seed. So I would love for Farm Sim to have the ability for you to know the total acreage of your field, use the seed calculator, use a seed calculator and come back and then you load in the amount of seed that you need for the field, instead of just filling up the hopper and going. Which I could do that myself, surely, if I could figure out what the seed rate on these were, the coverage per acre, and then I could calculate that out. And then in real life you have adjustable seed rate on your seeder, so you would know that how much seed am I putting out per acre, because you set up your planter to seed at a rate so that you yield so many plants per acre. And You don't do that in this game. You just use your seeder and it just blindly puts it out for you. Alright. Get locked on here. And we'll get going. Alright, so what else? I think that's about it. I think we've pretty much covered everything that has been in the notes that is noteworthy. A lot of other stuff, just basically somebody asked about doing another hunter video, and then there were some comments about the live stream, and still some more comments about video links, which a lot of people seem to have the same opinion as me, is video length doesn't really matter, because the thing about YouTube is if you stop somewhere watching a video and you close your browser out, when you go back and restart that video, it picks up right where you left off. And so most people are in the same opinion as me, is that the video length really shouldn't matter that much, as far as if it's interesting, it's interesting. If it's boring, it's boring. Now, I'll be the first to admit, some of these videos later on in them might tend to get boring. Whereas I run out of things to talk about until all of a sudden something pops in my brain, which is one issue that I have. A lot of times I'll be sitting here and something will pop. I'll have something in mind that I want to talk about. However, that completely goes awry when I actually get into the game and I start playing. Something in the game completely makes my mind wander off track, and I get on that and we end up talking about that in the video. And then around the 50-minute mark, oh yeah, I remembered what I was gonna talk about, and then I try to get that in at the end. And inevitably, most of you never hear that because, you know, a lot of people tune out after about 10 minutes, which I get that. The long versions that are, you know, anything over 15 minutes to an hour, that's really for the person who's keeping the video on in the background for cannon fodder, or just kind of not really paying attention to the video. They're just kind of watching the video and listening to what I have to say. And oh, that hill is so much steeper than I think it is, and I would have tore that thing up if I had done that in real life. So I didn't think I needed a header on this field, but oh, that's what V does. V does ridge markers. Or Z. Z is ridge markers. Now I know. So again, I'm using my gear shift to do a lot of things on my controller, and one of the things is first gear is what would be the Z key on your keyboard. Second gear I'm using to raise and lower the implement or use the V key. Third gear is forward. Fourth gear is reverse on the tractor. So that's how I've got it set up. So that's what I meant by when I was making the ridge markers go up and down, I was going into the first gear selection, and I was like, oh, that's what the Z key is for. It's ridge markers. Never knew that. I learned something new every day. I always knew ridge markers was like, on the gamepad, it was like right shoulder and the Y button or something like that. It was one of those things that, because I never used them, I never really remembered what button it was, and it would always irritate me when using Courseplay in the AI would go out and try to throw ridge markers down, and I wouldn't know how to get rid of them. Oh yeah. So we'll just get these fields planted and ready to go. Most of them look good. As you see, the alkalinity is a little bit high on them. That'll fall because we'll use 2 points of alkalinity here, or 2 points of our pH in the growth state, and then we'll use another 2 points when I put herbicide down. So that will lower it down a little bit more. So it should be within, and you have a pretty broad spectrum on the pH. All you want to do with the pH though is control it so that it never gets really low, or that it doesn't get really high to where you can't keep it within range. I think your range that you get is somewhere between 7.1 and 6.5, I think, somewhere in there. If you're within that range, you're pretty safe and you get 100% yield. It's not actually laid out as a specific number, so I can't tell you exactly what that number is, but it's pretty close to that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your planting. If you decide to use the soil mod, that you do have a pretty broad range of the alkalinity, but just make sure that you just don't let it get too low, that you can't control it again. And that's the most important part of it. So I'm thinking Colborough Park might make a return here in the next little bit. It may not. I haven't decided. I'm thinking I have this dilemma of wanting to do Colborough still, but at the same time there's some new maps out that it'd be good to do some new content that people haven't ever seen, and I'm sort of leaning towards that, but I might make Colborough, let it have a return. Shy Wizard took the time to go in and do a soul mod version of it, so I now have that in my mods list, and or in the mods folder, so I could go and do that if I want to. It's just a matter of deciding whether that's a route I want to head down. At the same time, there's some really cool looking maps out there that I wouldn't mind taking a look at and give it a try, but I'm still not ready to run away from this one, because this one's having a lot of fun on it, even though we only have 4 fields. But we're getting ready to change that. That will change here shortly. For sure we're going to pick up a 5th field, which will become a grass field that we will actually have to maintain. And I think I'll start off with probably 50 head of beef, just to get started, and then we'll go from there. And the next bit of equipment I want to get back into Slurry, because Slurry was kind of fun when we did it on North Brabant, or Nord Brabant. I would be interested in doing that in the soul mod and seeing how it works out in the soul mod. Hadn't really done anything with that yet. I gotta go bone back up on Slurry, because it's Slurry and manure are those two things that I haven't really studied enough on. And really, you know, people will use manure, but they use it a lot of time. You see manure used a lot in pasture situations, or at least that's been my experience. To see a lot of manure get spread on grass fields to help fertilize the grass fields, not so much as in the agricultural. Now, I do know pig farmers will take and pump their slurry into the, you know, adjacent fields that are being grown for corn or something like that. But in slurry injection is more common. But I'm not saying manure is not used for fertilizer. I'm just saying a lot of times it's more common to see it being used for pastoral work than it is to be used. Am I going to hit that sign? Ooh, actually made the turn. Come a little bit over. Cut back in. There we go. Nice. But anyways, yeah, normally I see that. I see manure more broadcast spread on grass fields to help fertilize the grass fields before the cattle are set into them or before they're cut. Over using it for agriculture. But I do know it is used in agriculture as well because, well, we do it some. We get more of a compost type enrichment that we put in. It's part manure, part other additives that go into it that we get and broadcast into the field. Alright. Usually I only do that like once every couple of years. I can usually go a couple of years before I put a soil additive in. Now I fertilize all the time, but I usually don't have to put any kind of additive or enrichment into the soil for a couple of years. Again, we have real sandy, loomy soil here, so I have to deal with that because I do live my farm is really close to the ocean. I live right on the ocean, but the farm is about 15, 20 miles maybe from the actual ocean itself. It's not that far inland, but it's a decent little tick. It takes me in traffic, it takes me about 20 minutes to get there from the house and to set up and start just to cruise out there and do a little bit of work. So it's about 15 minutes from the actual shoreline. But that means we, you know, the soil in the area is still pretty consistent with that loomy, sandy soil. I want to try asparagus because they say it grows really good in loomy, sandy soil, but I've yet to try it. it's one of those that you have to spend a year on just to grow it before you actually harvest it. And that's the one thing, I just don't have a year to spend on it, taking care of it. But it's something I want to try. Take just a small area of the farm and plant it and see what happens. So I really do like asparagus. It would be cool to be able to get a bunch of it, blanch it up, and put it away. But that is one I have never tried to deal with. I've done spinach. Spinach is such a... Spinach grows good in our soil. It's so hard to keep clean or get clean. It seems like you have to wash it for days. It's just full of dirt. The difference in the amount of sand and grit that comes out of the field on spinach versus like turnip greens and collard greens is night and day. I mean, if I were to say on a good harvest of turnip greens, let's say if I took a set of turnip greens out of the field, brought them home, cleaned them up, and got them ready to be prepared or put up, packaged or whatever, I would say, let's say, if you got a quarter a cup of dirt out of that, you would get, in the same load of spinach, you would get like 3/4 of a cup of dirt. It's amazing how much the spinach leaves hold on to sediment. It just is crazy to me. Now that's full spinach, not baby spinach. Baby spinach is a whole different beast. But regular spinach, yeah, I end up having to wash on that stuff. Oops. Went into the wrong selector that time. Alright. Didn't actually get into the gear selector that time. And that didn't back up as well as I thought it would back up. Oh well. There we go. Alright, so a couple more passes and we'll have this done. And we can move forward. So what else? There was something else I was thinking about. And I forget what it was. It was either something I read somewhere or somebody's comment, or it definitely wasn't a mod, because I went through the mod list and still haven't seen anything remotely interesting other than, you know, the Fent combine, which initial reports from the field, some people say it's not that good of a mod, so, or that they were disappointed in it. Let's be honest, it looks like it's probably just a reskin of something else. I turned on a turn signal somehow. There we go. What was it I was thinking about? There's something that popped into my head. And I don't know what it was. Do you hate that when that happens to you? It was like, oh, that would be something interesting, but who knows? I'm at a loss. I can't figure out what it was. Oh well. So sometime this week I do want to do a forestry video though, and I keep saying that, but yeah, at some point I want to do a forestry video because I haven't used this setup to do forestry. But before that I do that, one thing I've realized I need to do on this setup that I've made, I need to get some like little rubber pads to put underneath the joysticks, like some skid resistant pads or some Velcro, and Velcro them into a specific spot because they want to walk around on me, because you know I did it right. I took some plywood, cut the plywood up, and made this little, you know, sled, I'll call it, that sits into place and wraps around my chair. And the way it's set up is the joysticks are, you know, right at armchair height, so that I've got a natural position on them. And then there's about a 4-inch rise up and a little platform that I've got the G27 mounted on. It's a, you know, it's a work in progress, but it's working for me. But I went ahead and sanded it real good, got it nice and smooth, and then I put a stain on it and 4 coats of varnish on it, or lacquer on it, or polyurethane is really what I used, excuse me. But I put 4 coats of poly on it, and it is smooth and very nicely well done. Unfortunately, that means the joysticks want to slide around on it constantly. So even with their little rubber feet that they have on the bottom of it, they still want to slide around. So I've got to do something to compensate for that. So all right, before I run out of here, now that the work is done, let's take a look at the field, see where we sit. Pretty high in water. So this field needs a dose of PK tomorrow, and of course herbicide as well. So we'll get herbicide in there tomorrow, and then on day, which is day 2, day 3, we'll put PK on the field, and we'll go from there. But that gets our planting done and gets us on the way to another harvest, which is good news. Alright, so what's next? Basically, I need to spray all the fields. Well, I don't need to spray 20 because it's at 66% moisture now, so it doesn't need any moisture. We'll take a look at all the rest of the fields and kind of see where they're at number-wise and formulate our plan moving forward. Alright. We'll move in here. I can spin around so we can back in. You know, then again, I talk about starting a new map. This probably was what popped into my head. Talk about starting a new map. we've got the Russian map coming out at the end of the month, and I guess, you know, how much do we want to look at starting a new map if we've got the Russian map coming out? And are you guys interested in seeing gameplay on the Russian map? That's probably what I was wondering. How much of that interests you guys in seeing the content off of the new map? I mean, the machinery itself is going to be the machinery. The map is really the only thing that interests me. Is the map going to be killer and unique? Because it should be. It's coming from Giants, and you know, they have a vested interest in making sure that they put out something better than everybody else. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles as all these other maps have, but it should be a pretty decent map in the sense of layout and how cool it looks, and then we can always drop some other stuff into it to make it that much cooler. But it won't have pigs and beef and chickens and stuff like that, but it'll still have the big three, and you can go from there. But I am interested in seeing what it looks like, and seeing if aesthetically it's really something that you want to look at. Alright, so looking at this field, it could use a little bit of moisture. Definitely could use some moisture, so it needs to be sprayed with some water before the day ends. And we'll run over here to field 7, take a look at 6 and 7 to see what they need. So I'm thinking we'll continue this day. We won't fast track time. It's a little, what, 2:20 in the afternoon. We'll in our next video, we'll come in, we'll put some water into the fields that need moisturized, and then when that's done, we'll go set up the we'll end up purchasing another field and turning that into a grass field, and going from there. 64, 60, well, let's get further out here in the field, see what we come out with. Pretty consistently high. I'd say it probably doesn't need to be watered right now. And this field over here is probably the same as field number 4. And it is, just as I suspected, a little bit low. So probably put moisture into field 4 and field 6, and then we'll go grab another field, and we'll go from there in the next video. So that's be what we do. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. That's going to wrap it up for today. Keep it kind of simple, and because this is a good stopping spot rather than try and do something else and then you know, start another task and make the video run too long, which is kind of, you know, like I said, that's kind of what I set out with a mindset of accomplishing a task and getting that task done, and then going from there. So that will be it, though. That will be what we do for today, and we'll come back tomorrow. Like I said, we'll spray the fields tomorrow, get that taken care of so that everything is ready to grow, and then we will we'll come back and do a it should stop. There we go. We'll get that taken care of. We'll have everything ready to grow, and then we'll move forward with starting the beef operation, with getting a grass field ready and buying some beef cattle and all that good stuff. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you had a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And we'll do another video tomorrow. Until then, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.